All right. Hello, Dr. Cleveland. My name is Carden Trong, and I am a reporter at CFISD Student News. We are honored to interview you. We want to inform you that this interview is a part of a series of For All Candidates. We are a nonpartisan organization that cannot endorse, dedicated to keeping the students of CFISD informed, and this interview helps us fulfill the mission. We want to let you know that this meeting will be recorded and potentially uploaded to social media. Additionally, at the end of the interview, we'll ask a series of extra questions that our District Affairs Committee would like to know. We would also like to let the recording note that this is a re-interview, and if anyone would like a recording of the original, feel free to request us through our email at cfisdstudentnews@gmail.com. With that out of the way, let's begin the interview.
Oh,
How are you doing today, Dr. Cleveland?
I'm doing great. This one sun's out, just a day of learning, and so today's been a good day.
All right.
And I want to tell you thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We're actually honored to have you, take our interview request in the first place. Considering, nowadays some people just don't take interview requests. But let's begin with our first section, general questions, then we'll do candidate specific and then extra questions. All right, the first question. Who are you? Where are you from? And what position are you running for? And most importantly, tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Dr. Cleveland Lane. I've been in Cy-Fair School District for over 22 years. I have over 28 years of experience in higher education. I am a biologist by training, but I also have my PhD in science education and technology. So I work with, I actually teach anatomy physiology, but also work with students that are going to be our new STEM teachers and our researchers. I have three kids that have been in the school district. One has graduated, and two, they're at falls at this time. Um, One of the things I have a great wife, uh, and I understand being in Cy-Fair School District. It's a place to raise your family, and it's one of those best things about being there, and it's a great school district to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to Cy-Fair, not just K to 12. I went from pre-K to 12. So I've experienced, everything with the senior year coming up. I think I've seen everything Cy-Fair could really offer for me and my family. Um, but yeah, that definitely gives us a good perspective of who you are. But now let's ask about how CFIC has impacted you and how does it influence the decision making you will make as a member of a school board if elected?
Well, I know one of the questions you asked me previously was that I'm running for a Cy-Fair School Board Trustee position 6. And to answer the question that you gave me, just asked a few seconds ago, um, because like most of the families, I moved to Cy-Fair area because of the school district, and I've seen how it has grown, and I wanted to be a person that was going to help contribute to its individual growth. I know the times of education right now is changing, and it's important for our students to be prepared as they become 21st global students and global um, individuals that will be going out into the workforce. So one of the things that I come in contact with a lot is the importance of making sure that students are prepared and understand that when they go out from away from Cy-Fair, there's going to be a very diverse community, very diverse amounts of information that you're going to have to process, and that's one of the main reasons why, I'm in this race, and, I'm a concerned parent, I'm a taxpayer, but most of all, I'm an educator.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very important to, know obviously we can tell that you definitely have a purpose and you want to move forward and see and put input your vision on the district because you have the best of intentions. Um, that brings us to another question. It's a little more about how you're a little bit more leaning towards the campaign. How does your campaign slate work, and what are the other candidates you are running with like?
Now, I'll tell you each one of my campaign, and I know it's called the slate, but these are my teammates, and that's the thing about our families are teammates with each other, and each one of us have children that are in the school district. Each one of us are concerned parents. We all have our different backgrounds. As myself, as I'm in higher ed, when it comes to Leslie and Kendra, as you will see, as you've spoken to them, they've had experience in K through 12. And in that, we bring our different experiences where we've worked with, I work with most of the students that are going to college and going to prepare for their individual careers and those teachers that are preparing them. And then Kendra and Leslie, they've worked with K through 12 English and also helping with CTE programs. And so we both have very strong ties to the community and to making sure that our kids, not just our kids, but the kids of the community are prepared as they move on and become either going straight into the military or if they're going to college or if they're going to trade school. We want them to make sure that they are prepared and have all that information that they need so that when they make that step, they'll say, you know what? I know where I graduated from Cy-Fair ISD, and we're one of the best. We're the best students out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So you basically feel like you're one of the guys regarding like college readiness and higher ed. And that kind of brings me to my next question. How will you be able to ensure consistent quality of education for the more higher end subjects like AP or and dual credit? Make sure the offerings are consistent throughout all 12 high schools of Cy-Fair ISD.
Now, that's one of the good things is that the partnership of the districts with the local community colleges, they have chosen some great community colleges to help this dual credit and also with your AP programs and with our teachers that have been trained. We have great teachers within the program. So the consistency as a part of AP and as a part of your dual credit, that is built into the individual programs. And, as administrators, our administrators will make sure that they're in compliance and that they're going to reach the goals that they've set for each one of those areas. So I always want to tell everyone, take advantage of it. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you take advantage of those AP and dual credit courses.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, it's definitely a good way. Unfortunately, I might have taken a little over advantage of it. I'm taking 6 APs this year, so
Ooh, that's hey, it's never over because, like I tell anyone, when it comes to your education, the one thing no one can take from you is what you've learned and what's inside of your head. So, I mean, take advantage of it all so that when you step away, you're like, okay, I know what I'm going to do, and I know how I'm going to do it.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a good thing. I'm fortunately, personally for me, I go Cypress Woods High School. We have the teachers are up par. I mean, our teacher has won several awards in math, UIL academics. But that moves us to actually in the room I'm in right now is like covered with trophies. So that says a lot. But anyways, moving on to the next question. What policies do you plan on implementing or reversing as you're running for a first term?
Yes, one of the policies that that comes very close to heart is when it comes to the editing of books. You know, I came up during a time where reading is it still is reading is most important. But when you start editing books that have already been approved by the state, editing books, then that's when you start to place limitations on individuals. And my big thing is I don't want to limit any of the students. I'd rather us have the conversations with your teacher and your parents, because in that you don't want a student to step away from the district and say, "Oh, I didn't read that. I didn't know. How did y'all know about that already?" Because that's the whole point of education is that communication, that processing, the critical thinking, and that's how we make that evolution and that development and within ourselves is that processing of information.
Yeah, thank you for, the insight on, what to do. I mean, that's the core of your campaign. And it's very important that every student that watches this video knows what you're running on and what your core principles when you run for office. But that also brings us to our last question for the general questions, which is how will you work with state legislators to improve CFISD, whether it be, policy or budget or anything regarding that?
Well, I mean, the biggest part of that is that I'm gonna have to communicate either by phone. I'm gonna have to communicate with the community, and that's one of the things is that I know we have to make sure that the community feels the ownership, their own personal ownership in the education of not just their own children, but all the children of the district. These are people that don't have kids in their home anymore, our empty nesters, to those that have kids that are just getting ready to go into pre-K. But we want everybody to feel the ownership of the district, because the stronger we keep the district and that communication, that the district, the families communicate with the legislatures, and it will make it where I believe that we will become a stronger district. So my biggest thing is, to answer that in one word: communicate.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty standard skill we learn as a kid, but when you get older, you realize how, much more. I mean, it means more on the personal level, the professional level, the academic level. So yeah, I absolutely respect and see your point of view. That closes our general questions. So we'll go to our candidate specific questions. These questions are based off of what our reporters found out about you and, who you are. So let's begin. There's only going to be three. As of today, you're one of two candidates with a doctoral degree. What is that degree exactly on, and what insight does it provide you with in performing the duties of a school board member?
Well, with myself, I got my PhD from Texas A&M College Station, and what's very unique about my degree was it was a merge between the biology department and the education department. But what it focused on was integration of new technology into the classroom. And this is what's important to me, is that as we continue to develop, as students develop, and as we get ready, as the evolution of the processes that are taking place within us, the locally, statewide, and then globally, things are changing and technology is evolving. Right now, AI is the biggest thing out there, and I work with AI and virtual reality in the classroom, and that's one of the things, is that we have to make sure that our students that are coming up now are not just using AI for the novel things, just checking your work, but actually producing prompts to help generate critical thinking processes, and making sure that they're not going to be behind the curve when they step away from the district, or even when they move on to either their trade program or military or into college. Because the thing, we want to make sure that our we our students are the best product when they step away. So that's my degree, and I also I teach anatomy and physiology, so preparing students to go into healthcare, preparing our teachers that are going to be teaching your biology classes. A few of my teachers, well, more than a few, are my teachers or teachers with inside the district now. So this is very dear to my heart, is making sure that every kid, no matter what level they come in, that they are prepared and they're the best that they can be by the time they leave the district.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, it's very important that the district, prepares people when they walk out, they must be the most, well, not necessarily the most efficient person, but a person that can, be able to do what they're pursuing passion, yet be able to, be a working member of the society. Um, and also, AI is a very touchy subject for schools. Typically, they auto ban them, but it can be used for good. I mean, some students actually, one of our teachers actually advised us to say, "Give me AP style questions to practice for the AP exam." That's one way people actually utilize AI, and it actually gives you really good problems to practice off of. Sometimes harder than the actual AP test. Um, but yeah,
Yes.
I'm hoping not to play with that, especially in my calculus course, because it's probably gonna come up with a insolvable problem. But we'll see. The next thing the next question is, um, based on our reporter's findings, you're a professor at Prairie View A&M. What experiences have you gained or learned during your time? What is there any students that might have been notable for you that taught you something that might prepare you to serve on the school board?
Well, I'll tell you, in the 28 years of my instruction, it's been, threefold. I've had administrative responsibilities. So in that, I'm helping with assessment, and working on the budget, and working with recruitment of new faculty members. And so I've done that side. And then the next side of it has been that I'm an instructor. I'm a teacher. I'm in the classroom. I've worked with, students that are non-majors. I teach biology or that student that does not want to learn biology. They just want to get the grade. So, but that's the fun part, is that you're trying to, relate information to individuals, and so that they can take it when they step away from the classroom. And then I teach my majors that, as I stated, they'll either go in professionally healthcare, or they become teachers, or they become researchers. And in that, that makes me, whereas I'm always trying to evolve and become, make my course even better, and making sure that they stay on top of the new technology that is going on now out there. Um, and then, so the other part of it is that, the last is that I do a lot of community work from my with the university. And what I mean by that is that, I bring students from Cy-Fair and other districts come up to the university, and learn about, different careers in STEM, and look at do different research projects. And I've come to the district, and I've mentored students, and I've been a VIPs, and so it's been where my whole life has been education. And I come from a long line of educators, all the way back to my great grandparents. We're educators in some form or fashion, from being the bus driver, then walking in and being the teacher to the class, being principals and professors. But education is, um, has been, been my life, and it is my purpose. I do what I love, and I love what I do. And so I know that in this process of being on the school board, it is going to require me to pay attention to everybody in the district, from different economic backgrounds, from different locations. People come from different countries, and sometimes just from different states and towns, and see things completely different. Um, but it is going to require somebody that will have a diverse way of thinking, and be willing to go into the community and say, well, this is what we're getting ready to do. How do you view it? And be willing to say, I might not give you the answer you want to hear, but I'm willing to give you the answer that you need to hear. So, and that's my whole thing, is that I'm gonna be that person, be a voice of the community.
Yeah, that's a good response. I mean, the being a professor, I mean, it seems to be very daunting, but it seems like based on what you're telling me, it's a very rewarding experience, and you definitely, learn a lot, mentor people. I mean, university could be, honestly, when I think of it, it's kind of terrifying for me, but um,
You'll be great with it.
we'll see. But yeah, I can tell that mentoring, and you've definitely enjoyed your years of teaching and being professoring and all that. But yeah, that yeah, but that brings us to the next question. Now we switch to one experience to another experience, and the other experience is, based on a reporter's findings. You've previously ran for a school board in 2023. What have you learned since then, and has your plan for CFISD changed since then?
Well, I mean, during the difference between the first time I ran and now is that, I've become more engaged with community. So I've met a lot more people. And it's one of the reasons that I'm back out here again, because the first time I had, different groups inside of individuals that I had worked with before. But since then, I've had more people enter into my circle that I'm working with now. And that was one of the things, many people came, you're like, "You're running again, right? We want we see what you're about." And that's it. I tell everybody, excuse me, I am not a politician. I'm an educator, and I'm here for the kids. And that's how my teammates, we're running. We're about the kids over politics. And the ideal is that we want to make sure, and play a role in making sure that our kids are as prepared as well as they can be by the time they leave the district. And so, what I've seen is how, embracing that the district is, and how embracing the community is. And that some parts of the community do need to be engaged more because they felt left out. That's some of the things that I've heard. Being on the campaign trail as I'm knocking on doors, they're like, "Oh, nobody usually comes and say anything to us over here." And I'm like, "Well, we're gonna have to change that." and that's what my teammates and I are all about. We want to make sure that everybody feels included within this process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely see your view. I mean, nowadays some people treat school board members as a stepping stone to, a higher office, which is something that shouldn't be happening. Unless, they're well received, that the individual, the people want them to move up. But aside from
Well,
that, yeah.
can I say something to that? And I'm gonna tell you, and I can put this on record. My ideal is I'm here for the school board. I'm here for education. I don't think I could be a, that next level, but my big thing is that I'm here for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the purpose of school board. It should be, the people that, the people that just represent the interests of the community and just make sure that district builds up, kind of putting up the building blocks, holding it up, just the local level. Um, but yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But that kind of wraps up our candidate specific questions. Let's move up to the extra questions. So these are the last few set of questions. With the 25-26 school year starting, what is your message to the students of CFISD?
I would tell you, take advantage of this situation and remember that your education is the one thing someone can take away from you. And no matter what history book you read in, no matter what religion, no matter what part of the world you come from or going to, you'll always find in the book how important education is within those communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Education is the core value. I mean, it is what makes CFIC CFIC education. But yeah, absolutely agree. There are some people that don't take advantage of their education. It's a lifelong. It's a life changing opportunity that many people need to take advantage of. And I absolutely agree with you. That brings us to our little more trivial question. What is your favorite elementary, middle, and high school in CFIC?
Oh, your question. I have to say, all of them are my favorite. I'm not going to, I'm not gonna be walking down the street and somebody hit me up and be like, "You say it?" No, all the schools are my favorite, and I'm gonna work hard for all of them. So everything that I do is for every child and for every school.
That's a that's a pretty good mentality approaching it. I mean, if I'm correct, your kids do go to Cypher Ice, some Cypher
Yes,
Ice.
yes. They one went to Ranch, one went to Falls, one went then Blaine, Burks. So yes, they all went, but all the schools are my favorite.
You're not in a
All schools
dilemma
are my
about
favorite.
you're not in a dilemma or anything like that? Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's get back to the more serious track.
Okay.
As you are campaigning, how are you able to connect with voters? How are you able to communicate with them? And when you do that, what have you heard from them?
And I'll say the one of the things is when I'm campaigning is that I want the voters to see that I am genuine in what I'm saying. It's coming from my heart. And I want to show them that, you can trust me. I'm gonna do what I have to do for your children, for the best of your children. And that's me. So as we walk from door to door or when we're in our meet and greets or when I'm good to stop somebody at the gas station. And as I talk to them, I mean, the one thing is that they want to be engaged. And sometimes that engagement is not going to have them where they're coming to the campus, to one of the campuses, but sometimes it's just where we have to go out into the individual community, and on to those, neighborhoods and say, look, this is what's going on. Um, you know, we are a technology community where you're using email and um, social media for everything. But you know, a lot of the parents are still old school, where they just want to see somebody's face and hear their voice as they get ready to say, "Yeah, I can see it in your eyes. You're being true about what you're saying." And that's the big thing. I just want the trust. We and trustee. That's what we're gonna have: the trust and trustee.
That's hilarious. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, what my mentor has taught me is, I mean, whether it be on a phone call, FaceTime, or email or anything, nothing beats the good old simple shaking your hands with you in person. That's what my mentor taught me, and I obviously gone with that. I mean, hopefully one day I could see you in person, maybe whether it be at a board meeting or event, and I could shake hands with you and get to
I
know
look
you.
forward to it. I truly do.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we'll see if that day comes. But that brings us to our last question. How can students be more involved in the decision making on the district level? And what role do student voices play into decision making?
Well, and that's the thing about it. Students are, I always been told that you need to keep somebody younger than you around you, somebody your age, and somebody older than you. This is where you're always going to have that transfer of information and keeping you current, but also keeping the wisdom. And the students are the ones that are experiencing what we're going through, just as our teachers. And so everyone needs to have that conversation. And so the communication from our students makes the district even better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to your one of your main things, communication. Seems simple, but more impactful than you think. But yeah, I think that should be mostly it. I'll end the recording. I'll just ask you the post interview question. So I'm gonna stop in 3, 2, 1.